Yeah, thanks. But there it has to do with the complete suppression of the nature of one's own being, you know. I mean, the suppression begins with wiping out your names
Yeah.
and taking on the names of your
Masters.
slave owners, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
So, but I see what you're saying. If
ये Malcolm X
Pakistan-
की autobiography में एक scene है. Have you ever read Malcolm X's autobiography?
I read some of it, but not all of it. But I saw the movie.
Well, you
which
know,
is-
there's a
which is-
distinction between what's called the house Negro and the field Negro.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
I heard that speech.
Now, the field Negro is in fact actually a little bit more emancipated than
Yep.
the house Negro. So
Yeah.
Malcolm X describes
He
what it
describes
meant
it
to be a
beautifully,
house
man.
Negro.
That's beautiful.
The scene he describes is very simple in a line, basically. So a white slave owner comes knocking on the door of another slave owner in the plantation in the deep south,
Uh-huh.
and the house Negro opens the door,
Uh-huh.
and the man says, "Is your master in?"
Uh-huh.
And her reply is, "We sick,
Yeah.
we sick." Not he
Yeah.
is sick, we
Yeah.
sick.
Yes.
You know, right?
Yeah.
So where the identification is so complete that you just don't have
Yeah.
an identity at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've been completely eviscerated.
Yeah. There's like a
You know?
7-8 minute segment of Malcolm X speech where he
Yeah.
elaborates
हाँ,
mean-
ये पे है, right.
and he says well there's two kinds of Negroes.
Mhm.
There's the house Negro and there's the field
Field
Negro.
Negro.
There's a house slave and the field slave. And the house Negro, he eats what the master eats. He wears what the master wears. You know, the leftover food, he eats that. The hand-me-down clothes, he wears
फील्ड नीग्रो
that.
के पास थोड़ी सी पर्सनल फ्रीडम होती है.
Yeah, the field Negro, and the house Negro loves the master. The
Yeah.
field Negro hates the master. So when the house is on fire, the house Negro is running around trying to put the fire out, and the field Negro is hoping the whole thing will
It's
burn down.
trying to aggravate the flames.
Yeah, and then he says, yeah,
Yeah.
when you know the house Negro asks the master, what's the matter? Is we sick? Is we sick? It's a beautiful, beautiful speech.
Have you ever
by
heard
Malcolm
him?
X.
Not live, of course, but the recordings are
Yeah.
easily available.
Internet,
Yeah, I've got tons of them. You know,
on the
the
internet.
full speeches. You know, half an hour
Yeah.
long. Yeah.
Beautiful, and it's so clear and no bullshit, and it's so straight, like shooting
It's
straight.
just sexual intercourse, and that's not what it is.
That's why he was
only.
dangerous.
So quite a show, huh? So that's where the problem is.
So how do you define
Yeah.
sexuality in
Zabardast
that
Sexuality has
case?
to do with all kinds of things. It has to do with touch, feels.
No, it has
smell,
to do with
Everything.
No, it has to do with the literature,
You know.
the literature of of romance from the very early beginning.
नहीं वो तो है, but I mean
Because
I'm talking about in the life of a person.
Look,
You know.
Kama
from that
Sutra?
point of view,
Absolutely.
it's a
Yeah.
cumulative
So he did
experience.
denounce the common.
It is
Oh,
a-
he loved the company of women, for example.
Yes.
Absolutely loved the company. In fact, his two grandnieces were with him until the last day. In fact, the day he was shot dead, he was accompanied by Manu and Abba. And, you know, he
But
was surrounded by women constantly. And in fact, there were lots of platonic affairs. I mean, there are letters written by a number of women running into the hundreds, and replies by Gandhi to them. So, you know, this is where, but yeah, I mean, if you're speaking about sex in the literal sense of the term, which includes
Then he did
intercourse, yeah, then when he took the vow of brahmacharya, he did. Yeah.
But
But he also went to bed naked with women towards the end of his life, but didn't have sex with them, you know. Yeah.
But isn't
That's
that
kind of curious behavior.
isn't that like doing a like a strip dance where you can't touch? It's just frustration.
No, but there it has to do with relationships of power too. I mean, it has to do with the commercialization of sex. वो तो उसमें तो बहुत कुछ आ गया है. The strip dance and you flashing around dollars and inserting it in the woman or this and that. It's a commercialization of sex and advertising and merchandising of women. That's no. I mean,
But isn't it an injustice to the woman? He's lying next to it.
well, but you'd have to know the whole story, no? I mean, it's not like he was doing that for 30 years.
No, what?
you
That
know.
is directly related to the economic activity. So
Yeah.
first you have to say the injustices of the economic activity, and then you come to that other point. You cannot disregard the injustices of economic activity without having to get to that point. First you
Yeah.
have to discuss the injustices of economic activity. You cannot just leapfrog to that point without having to discuss that. And that is what most of the people do. They think that they take the whole injustices of economic activity as a prima facie, on a face value, and then they jump to that other aspect. And that is where the biggest mistake is made. So until and unless you decry that, you will not be able to discuss that.
So there was some kind of romance, but it was platonic romance that he had.
Gandhi's case.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, that platonic means you don't have a sexual relationship, but I mean, it's more complicated than that because it's not only platonic relationships. It's, as I said, you have to really make that distinction between
I think
sex and sexuality, where sexuality has to do with
a lot of things. It has
Lots
lot-
of things. It has
lots
to do
of
with
things.
touch, feel, smell, the aesthetics
The
of
whole,
it.
Yeah,
the whole,
just-
the
yeah,
whole,
just aesthetic
the
part.
whole romanticism of the human nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would call that would be romantic interest. He had romantic interest.
Oh, I
in
don't know
other
if but romantic is a problem here because the romantic in the English language
It was very different.
has it veers into the physicality of sex very quickly.
Yeah.
You see, that's the problem.
So,
And it's not complete
is
without
there-
that aspect.
Yeah.
कोई
yeah.
हिंदी में कोई और लफ्ज़ है more appropriate?
यार यहाँ पे मेरा ख्याल है वो पॉइंट आ गया यहाँ बैरियर्स लैंग्वेजेस के जो है ना वो विजिबल हो जाते हैं.
Ah.
Probably there is no word.
Well, I don't know.
But you can understand what where he was.
But
You can say
when you say-
नहीं, जैसे भक्ति जो है, आप-
you can say ishq,
Well, I don't know if you know Bhakti.
Bhakti movement,
If you know
yeah.
Bhakti literature from India, from the 8th century till the 16th century. Do you know that literature at all?
No.
Kabir.
You see,
Okay.
it's a huge strand of literature, going from South India all the way to the north, west, east, Kashmir. So Bhakti literature में one of the dominant ideas has to do with जैसे मीरा भाई और जो है वो she is a bhakt of Krishna. Okay. Now it's tinged by eroticism, the poetry. There's no question about it. But of course, it works at number of layers because it's purely metaphorical as well. But the tinge of eroticism is important because the idea is that you shouldn't be able to render it only at one level of interpretation. You see, आपको मैं एक किस्सा सुनाता हूँ.